All right, you all, welcome to Lifestyle by SK, where wine, cigars, and relationships create a tapestry of extraordinary experience. On today's episode, I have a very important video that I want to discuss, and this is going to be interesting. So go ahead and get ready, get you some coffee, get you something to drink, because we're about to go ahead and get right into it. But the question I want to ask you is, would you date a single mother? Let's discuss the pros and let's discuss the cons of this. So today I want to dive into this controversial but important question that I just asked. Would you date a single mother? Now, it's a topic that comes with a lot of opinions, a lot of personal experiences, and we're going to try and break this down on both sides. So I'm going to definitely speak to you all freely on this because I just have some thoughts and things that I've seen that I kind of want to talk about in a respectful manner in that regard. So I want you to think about this. I want you to think about some pictures in your head of families, single moms with kids, and happy couples. I want you to kind of have that in mind. And then I want you to think about this in a way that this particular conversation is going to have a lot of people, or do have a lot of people talking about it nowadays. And I've seen clips on different social media platforms with people agreeing with it, particularly the women wanting the men to come aboard to date them with kids. And then you have men on the other side who don't have any kids, who are moving forward in their life and they don't want to date single mothers. So I want to definitely bring this into the realm so we can talk about it, because for some of you out there, the idea of dating a single mother may be a no-brainer to you, while for others there are concerns. But we're going to just discuss the pros and cons. I definitely want to see you all's comments below, so definitely make sure you put those in there respectfully. But would you date a single mother? Let's go ahead and get right into it. So one of the first things that I want to talk about is, let's talk about the pros of dating a single mother. So as we get into these pros, there's a couple things that I definitely want us to think about, because it's very, very important, of course. But when we think about these things, there are a couple of points that I want to point out as far as the pros of dating a single mother. Just picture yourself just out in the park, right? You're out there, you see single mother interacting with their kids, they're enjoying their day. The first thing that you have to have in mind is single mothers are often incredibly strong and resilient. And I want you to look at this first within your own family, whether if it's a sister or your mother or you was raised in a single parent home. I talked a little bit about this in a previous video that I did, but there have been some tough times and they have had to build a life for themselves and their children. Now, if you looked and remember the other video I did, I talked about, I think it was around about 7% of black men that are single parents. And while I like to make sure to focus and put a light on the majority of the statistics, we had more between, I was saying between 38 to 42% of kids who live in a single parent home who lives with their mother. And so as you're looking through this, I want you to see that the strength can be a major asset in a relationship, because they know how to handle challenges. So imagine if you see someone just out and about, you going out to eat, you're dating, and you see someone that you're interested in and you liked that lady's physical appearance, but then you go up to her and you realize she has one or multiple children. You see that she's holding it down or whatever that you may want to call it. Would you still move forward with that? Because as I said, that strength could be a major asset, but then that other benefit is the value of time and commitment. Because let me tell you something, single mothers typically don't have the time for games, but as we're seeing online, it's almost like it's more people playing games than anything. And I definitely want to make sure that we are putting some positive content out there, because a lot of the light is on the bad side. It's definitely talking, men talking about they won't date like single mothers, but I want to make sure we get to hit on both sides of this, because this could be beneficial for some people, and everybody's going to have a different story. But that value, time, and commitment, as I said, they don't have time for games, a lot of them, and sometimes they'll most definitely tell you. But if they're investing time in you, it's likely because they see something serious. And we have all talked about the monetary aspect of that, and nobody's denying that. But if they see something, many people will say that a single mother knows how to balance, or should know how to balance, love, responsibility, and partnership better than most. So what do you all think about that? Like, have any of you dated a single mother out there before, men? Think about that. Definitely drop that information in the comments, because I definitely want to see and understand, is it a rewarding experience? Do you feel appreciated? Because there are some things out there that are some good benefits, especially if you're like, you know, a college student could be looking at this video and they can meet somebody, they're talking, next thing you know, they find out they have kids. Does that turn you off? Does that turn you on? How do you feel about that? Now, when you flip it to the other side, we can look at the challenges. Now, the challenges of the single mother is where what we should be talking about, but we don't want it to ruin everything that a person has, right? So when you're looking at those particular challenges of dating a single mother, you may see them, you're in the store, you see them trying to juggle between the kids, try to get them to stop doing stuff that may be acting bad out there, and trying to go out on dates could be hard. Some of the common things like time constraints, may not have time to do stuff, schedules all messed up, and the ex-partner dynamics, and that is one of the biggest things. But when we talk about the challenges, one of the major ones is most definitely time. Time is a little bit different on this, because a single mother's schedule is going to always by default revolve around her kids, because she is going to put the kids first before you, man. That is just the way it is. It's never going to change. So that means that she's going to be less likely to be flexible for spontaneous dates or late night hangouts. And you all know what late night hangouts that I'm talking about. So we're not going to sit there and play around with this, but your time's going to be much more valuable. So for some, that can be extremely tough, especially if you're looking for a lot of the one-on-one time with the person that you're dealing with. So men are more than likely, they have an option. They're more than likely going to choose to go with the woman that doesn't have kids, so they can be more spontaneous if they want to pick up and go on a trip somewhere, fly to another state or city, get on the train to go here just at the drop of a dime. They can do that without having to call the single mother for her to figure out how to get a babysitter, so that way she can spend time with that man, because the time is going to be limited with that. So men oftentimes go off of looks, We will see someone, be attracted to them by looks, and then we go and move forward, and then realize, oh, things may not look as they appear. But one of the things that I can definitely see being a very big concern too is the dynamic with the ex, dynamic with the baby daddy. Now, if the father is still in the picture, that's going to bring some complications because he's going to always have a back door to her heart, regardless of what you're doing for that woman and those kids. Now, co-parenting can lead to unavoidable interactions with the exes as well. And so, and some people find that intimidating and uncomfortable. So, if you're out on a date and you all are enjoying each other's company and that ex of hers calls on the phone, it could always have something to do with the kids. So, she's more than likely could answer that phone call to end it, maybe interrupting you all date. But lastly, raising kids is a very big responsibility. So if things get serious between you two, you're not just dating the mother, you're becoming a part of that child's life too. And so that's something that requires careful consideration. But would any of these factors make you hesitant? So definitely put those in the comments below as well. Because here's the thing, if the man doesn't have any children and he goes to date that single mother, and that ex or that baby's father or the kid's fathers are still around, that man and that woman that are dating need to set some expectations that if things get serious, the baby daddy gotta go. Because there does need to be a conflict of interest. There does need to be a conflict between the two men, because if things were the way that they should be, they should all be able to communicate with one another and have an understanding that now I'm in the picture and that man is footing the responsibility. He should be able to take it from there. There shouldn't be any more, I'm going to go over here and date this guy, but then when it's time for the kids to see their dad, we're going to go hang out and all that other stuff. And that right there is where a lot of the problems come into play. So you have to weigh those important factors before making any permanent decisions about whether you're going to move forward in a longer lasting relationship or a marriage with that person. So when we're thinking about those two things, we want to be very careful about how we approach this. We have to be very careful because when you are breaking those stigmas around single mothers, there's some things that you most definitely need to know. And we need to know this very, very well. But single mothers, they're going to be confident. They're going to be independent single mothers. And we know there's a lot of songs out there that talk about all this. So we don't even have to get into all that. But when we take a moment to look at the stigmas, there's often the misconception that dating a single mother comes with baggage. But that's an unfair label in a sense, because being a single mother doesn't define who she is. It's just one part of her life. So many single mothers are professionals, they are creators, they're entrepreneurs, they're more than capable of balancing it all. But as I said in one of my previous videos, two incomes are better than one. In fact, many single mothers come out and can come out of challenging situations with a clear sense of what they want in life and making them solid partners. So when you're looking at two people that you have the option to choose between, a lot of men are going to go for the single woman who doesn't have kids versus a single mother that does have kids. But there's going to be creatives, entrepreneurs, and professionals on both sides of this. But the challenging situation is that with a clear sense of what they want in life and making them solid partners, the idea that single mothers is somehow less desirable is outdated, because the older you get, especially after 35, especially in the black community, both that man and woman, they're going to have some kids at some point in time before you're meeting other people. But we need to shift the conversation away from the stigma and focus on the individual values and the connection. Because I'm telling you, we're going to get to the point that we need to focus on the person and not just the circumstances. Because when I was thinking about this, I thought about it this way, and you all just definitely share in the comments what you think about this below as well. Imagine that you're out on the open web and you're talking about, you don't like single mothers, you're not, you're just making so much negative energy about it. Imagine we tend to forget that in the professional world, sometimes a lot of these single mothers are nurses. And if they know that you're that type of man who just talks down to people, talks bad about them, imagine what your life would be like if you was laying up in a hospital bed and these single mothers were taking care of you. So it's almost like, indeed, you don't have to date single mothers, but you don't have to talk so bad about people. And ladies, the same applies to the fellas back. You shouldn't talk bad about a man that may not make the amount of money that you may make, or he may have kids. Being a single father, he may be the person coming to install something at your house, may give you a bad time because of the way that you treated them. Now, that's not saying that every single mother thinks the same and is the same. You're going to gauge that based on how you interact in society. That's why the whole reason why I'm making these particular videos right here is because I want to be able to provide some positive insight on both sides of the equation. I always think about that. Even times I've visited people in the hospital, a lot of times all the nurses and CNAs and people that I've seen that are doing things around or in fast food or restaurants are oftentimes single mothers. Now, we do have a lot more married people, of course, in the black community, and I've discussed it in one of my other previous videos. But I want us to, once again, shift that conversation away from the stigma and focus more on the individual values and the individual connections, because we're focusing on the person, not just the circumstances alone. But the question that we can all ask ourselves is this right for you? Is it right for you? Only you be able to make that decision. Showing people considering their own preferences, writing down and thinking about what they want in a relationship. At the end of the day, the question is very personal. It's very personal to you and only you. Is dating a single mother right for you? It's all about what you want in a relationship, and some people are ready for that commitment. Others understand the sacrifices that comes with dating someone who has children. Others might not be at that stage in their life yet, but that's okay too. That's perfectly fine. We've all been there before, at least at some point. But it's very important to be honest with yourself and your audience. Can you handle the schedule? The possibility of co-parenting, can you handle that? The relationship with the ex-partner, can you handle that? Or are you looking for something with fewer complications at this point in your life? And that's perfectly fine, because when we are young, we look for things that are less complicated, because we all want to go out and enjoy life. We all want to go out and just be free. But at some point, you're going to have to sit your behind down at some point. And think about it this way. The older you get in life, the closer you get to 40, the more that people your age are going to have children. but who do you want to grow old with? Because there's a chance that you can grow old and miserable with somebody who doesn't have kids versus growing old and having the time of your life and having somebody who is going to cater to your needs who may have children. I've known people who've met and rekindled with people that they went to high school with later on in life that had kids and extended families, and they still got together. But it's all about you. It's all about what you want in a relationship and your own reflection. So I definitely want you all to keep that in mind, because that is something that we literally have to think about time after time after time again. Now, as you hold that there in your head, there's another thing that we can also do. We can also build strong relationships with single mothers and even people when they blend families. You see blended families enjoying life together. So if you do decide, men out there, to date single mothers, could be one of the most fulfilling relationships that you've ever experienced. Who knows? Definitely share your comments. I know some of you probably had horror stories. Some of you probably have, done this before and you have been perfectly happy with it. That's why I want to give both sides to the equation, because it's about building trust and understanding and creating a loving environment, not just for your partner, but for the children as well too. Because overall, most people who take this step find that they gain an entire family in the process, because there may be people out there who can't have children, maybe men out there who can't produce children, so that may be an option for them. But if you approach it with love, respect, and patience, it can turn into a deeply rewarding relationship. So for those of you who have dated or are dating a single mother, definitely tell us about what your experiences are in the comments below. Definitely share it. So I want to leave you with this here, because I always like to leave something in the channel. But I want to just thank you all so much for tuning in to this discussion, because I know it's a little bit kind of harder one to kind of have at this time. But whether or not you date a single mother, or you're deeply, or is a deeply personal decision, but it's one worth talking about openly, which we do need to talk about these things much more in the open. But I hope today's conversation gave you some things to think about. So if you like this video, definitely hit the like button, subscribe for more relationship discussions like this, and don't forget to leave your comments below, people. Would you date a single mother? Let's keep the conversation going. So until the next time, like, listen, subscribe. Lifestyle by SK, where wine, cigars, and relationships create a tapestry of extraordinary experience. You all have a good day, night, and evening, wherever you are.